collectively, state and local government, having a conversation directly with this administration regarding its decision to remove DEI from its social platforms and from administrative positions across the campus. We said then that we were concerned about the manner in which these actions were taken and the potential consequences that would result from it. Unfortunately, the administration then, as it is now, seems to be silent as it relates to a particular grouping of people, specifically students and faculty of color. While it has done an extraordinary job as it relates to anti-bias in terms of anti-Semitic behavior and other areas, this one consistent pattern seems to be beyond their capability of responding to, or frankly, their desire to respond to. It should be clear today that while we talk publicly about these issues, and for some, it will be very uncomfortable for people in positions of power and authority on this particular campus. But everything we say today is true and accurate, and most importantly, needs to be said publicly. It is of great concern to us that we now stand here as the law school has adjusted its process based upon federal requirements, but also affirmed its commitment to its faculty and students as it relates to African Americans and students of color. The hospital, healthcare system, again, adjusted its approach based upon federal standards, but also affirmed its commitment through actions, not words, in terms of community of color. Even CHOP has done that. The only institution in this particular community of significance that has not thought enough about a plan or a process is the University of Pennsylvania. And so it requires us no longer to have conversations, but take our own direct action. And so collectively today we stand before you to articulate what our next steps will be as it relates to the inaction of the University of Pennsylvania. You know, John F. Kennedy in 1960 in a speech said, "Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed and no republic can survive. This is why an Athenian lawmaker decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy." During the same period, Martin Luther King, October 14, 1964, received the Nobel Peace Prize. He said it was accepting this prize on behalf of 22 million Negroes. They were currently engaged in the creative battle to end the long night of racial injustice. Today, we are a country that has approximately 51 million people of color, 15% of the population, approximately over 43 million of them are African American. And as Dr. King articulated effectively then, this period of darkness is now creeping significantly into our country. An administration that stands idly by is complicit in allowing for an authoritarian government to take place. As Dr. King and as President Kennedy said, there is no hiding in these moments. They are uncomfortable moments, but they require action, not silence. But what is most outrageous is that a member of the Penn advisory community at Wharton School is a part of constructing a compact which is quid pro quo. You do the following against African Americans and you will receive federal support for your school. Well, we are saying to University of Penn, you should not have been a part of that, and you should not be a part of that. Yes. And most importantly, there are consequences because of being a part of that. Mm-hmm. And we're laying that out today in very specific terms. And by the way, this is not the last action. Mm-hmm. There are other actions to be taken as we move forward. But most offensive is to the community that has surrounded the University of Pennsylvania. Look, I'm old enough to remember when there was a discussion about building walls around the University of Pennsylvania and making sure that they were protected from the outer community. Brighter and thoughtful minds prevailed, and Penn has grown and prospered. They've grown and prospered in large part because the surrounding community of African Americans has welcomed them, allowed them to move, allowed them to have permits, allowed them to build, allowed them to advance. In return, this community has received the indifferent, cold shoulder, denying what everyone else in this country understands. This dark period of bias, bigotry, and racism, which is growing every single day because of an administration that desires to erase a people. There's one other time when we can remember that, and it was in another nation. And they, my friends from the Jewish community, said then, never again. And we are saying today, it will not happen while we are still alive and viable as a community, certainly as elected officials, but most importantly, as people of color and African Americans. This standard of American patriotism, which we represent truly, will mean all people and all types of Americans. And so we're glad they're here today to talk about what we will do in that regard. I'm honored to be here with the chairman of the Black Caucus of Pennsylvania. He will be followed by Councilman Jamie Gaudier and possibly Representative Andre Carroll. We are also joined by Representative Malcolm Kenyatta and Representative Rick Krajewski, who got here late because he couldn't ride a bike, and possibly Senator Sharif Street. In that order. Thank you. And most significantly, my colleague and mentor and director, Senator Art Haywood.
Thank you. I am Representative Napoleon Nelson. I am the chair of the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus, an alum of the University of Pennsylvania. And it saddens me that we are here again today. We've been here before. We've had this conversation already. We've already had conversations with the president and with the leadership here at Penn, expressing our extreme desire that they do the right thing, that they appreciate the responsibility that is one of the nation's preeminent institutions of academic excellence, as well as certainly one of Pennsylvania's pride and joy. Apparently, leadership, though, can be hard to find on campuses like this. So, to President Jameson, we look forward to hearing your no to the president. We look forward to hearing that you will follow the president of MIT and saying that you will reject this compact. I think it's more important now than ever, as word is out that this compact is now an ask of every university and institution throughout this land. People are looking to you, President Jameson, to actually lead. They're looking to you and looking to those who are signatories on that initial compact to make sure that you stand up for academic values, mission, students, and faculty that you represent. The Legislative Black Caucus is one of those as well. I know the caliber of learners that we have sent from my community to the University of Pennsylvania. I saw some of them earlier today. I know the capability that they have innately to be leaders in this community, and I know that what they don't need to do coming out of here is figure out how to make business decisions at every turn. I need my young people to understand how in the world to be led with some level of moral compass and conviction. And I know that the University of Pennsylvania has that. The challenge is, if you guys consistently make business decisions, then we need to speak with a business voice. And for that reason, we will be passing around a letter that will call on state and local governing bodies to reassess financial support for the university, for the veterinary school, and for other spaces that we can provide that will ensure that when we call on you to lead, when we call on you to be the university and the institution that you say that you are, that we can actually ensure that that voice is going to be heard in your ear. Because if the voices that you have on your shoulder are advising you to only make business decisions, then our relationship will have to be a business relationship. And if it has to be a business relationship, then we're going to have to ensure that we ratchet up our leverage in this moment. I hope it doesn't have to come to this. I hope we don't have to be here for a third time. But when we are back for a third time, appreciate that we will have advanced this conversation even further. There must be accountability. There must be leadership. This is a moment for you, President Jameson, and for the Board of Trustees here at the university to actually do what you say you are going to do, to be the people that you already say that you are. Time for waiting is over. The time for action is right now. I will now turn it over to Councilman Gautier.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Again, my name is Councilmember Jamie Gautier, and I'm proud to represent much of West and Southwest Philadelphia in City Council. For months, this coalition has been holding the University of Pennsylvania accountable for its choice to capitulate to Trump's racist, authoritarian siege against Black and brown Americans. We warned in February that waving the white flag would only invite further attacks from this bully. And boy, were we right. Let me be clear. This compact, drafted by rogue Penn alumnus and billionaire Mark Rowan, is a thinly veiled attempt to drag Locust Walk back into the 1800s, when the only people allowed to study here were rich white men like Trump and Rowan. I know what it's like to be a Black woman on this campus. It took less than a week in my graduate student career for a classmate to claim that Penn admitted me and the other handful of Black students only because of affirmative action. I had no choice but to go the extra mile and then some, just to be taken as seriously as my white classmates. That's why I regularly stayed in the lab far past midnight, even when I was pregnant with my first child. More than 20 years later, I'm still waiting for Penn to become a school where everyone, regardless of their race, gender, sexual orientation, or religion, can thrive. Instead, Penn's leadership has been all too willing to leave Black and brown folks behind if it means keeping their coffers full. We need to remember who we are dealing with here. A president who in private and public life has proven time and again that he won't agree to do anything unless he comes out on top. The art of the deal. Trump knows that the long-term benefit of turning schools like Penn into mouthpieces for the Republican Party far outweighs the extra dollars he's dangling in front of them. This group that you see right here is doing everything that we can to defend diversity and academic freedom. Thank you to Representative Rick Krajewski, Representative Malcolm Kenyatta, Senator Anthony Williams, Senator Art Haywood, Senator Sharif Street, State Representative Napoleon Kincaid, Senator Nikhil Saval, and everyone else who teamed up together to introduce legislation prohibiting universities that signed this compact from receiving state funding. But we need our representatives in Congress to join the fight. Congress has the power of the purse. As they negotiate the federal government's budget, we need them to stop Trump from using our tax dollars to transform universities into MAGA Academy, and instead restore funding to critical research and education programs. Resistance is possible. We've seen it from other universities. MIT already rejected Trump's bribe, writing that, quote, "The premise of the document is inconsistent with our core belief that scientific funding should be based on scientific merit alone." Penn's motto is "Laws without morals are useless." President Jameson and the University of Pennsylvania Board of Trustees join MIT in categorically rejecting Trump's bribe and stand up for diversity, equality, and academic freedom. And I think I might have messed up my colleague's name. I'm sorry about that.
I'm in trouble back at home.
I want to bring up my esteemed colleague at the state level, State Representative Rick.
Senator Art Haywood first.
Oh, Senator Art Haywood.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much.
Art, you still are esteemed as well.
I got you. I appreciate it. What is prestige without moral clarity. In my tradition, we are told that you cannot give up your soul for the goods of the world. We are told that the highest value is morality. And what we have here at this institution is the challenge between prestige and moral clarity. And it is not simpler than that. MIT has been recognized as making the choice, and Penn should do the same. This is a compact that will restrict speech. This is a compact that will restrict admission. This is a compact that Penn should reject. I do want to hit on a few other points about general context. My neighbors have asked me, when will Trump stop? My answer to them and to you, Trump will not stop until he is stopped. And rejecting the compact is on the road to stopping him. He will freeze funds illegally, and the courts will have to reverse it. He will end DEI illegally, and the courts will reverse it, as they have. He will try to end free speech, and the courts will reverse it, as they have. And he will try to end all criticism and dissent, and it is up to us to reject it. Now, there's a significant alternative for Penn, and a number of colleges have started what they call the Mutual Defense Compact. And the Mutual Defense Compact has been adopted by a number of Senate bodies of these universities, faculty. And their desire is to come together so they cannot be picked off one at a time. And the Mutual Defense Compact has already been signed by our friends across the river at Rutgers University. This is the direction in which the university should follow. And I just want to address one other thing based upon some comments of my colleagues. Our nation is already a majority people of color for 18 and under. There might be some 18-year-olds here as well. This nation is already diverse. The only question is whether it will have inclusion, whether we will have equity. But the nation is already diverse and will continue to be so. The last thing I want to share is to address to my colleague, Jamie Gauthier. Affirmative action allows admissions officers who cannot see us to see us. Don't walk away from it. Because there was before affirmative action, this school was all white. Not because of a lack of talent of African Americans, not because of a lack of talent of Asian and Hispanic Americans. This school and this nation has had the blinders on our talent. And what I have shared, I know I'm going a little bit off, Senator Williams. What affirmative action does is put the corrective glasses on admissions officers so they can see us. Without affirmative action, they can't see us. They cannot. Of course, that's why I have these glasses as well.
Right.
This is a moment for Penn to step up, to bring the prestige with moral clarity. Reject the compact and join the Mutual Defense Compact of universities across the nation so that we cannot be picked off and we can protect the nation we are trying to build. Thank you. I now want to bring up Rick Krajewski, Malcolm Kriata. Thanks so much.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Grateful to be here. My name is Representative Rick Krajewski. I have the pleasure of being the state representative for the 188th Legislative District. I want to start by thanking Senator Williams for his continued willingness to be a part of this struggle and for bringing us together for collective action. In preparing my remarks, I was looking over my past notes and reflecting on how many times we've been here already this year. How many times Trump and his federal demagogues have tried to force their agenda down the throats of the American people. How many times they've used fear and chaos to terrorize our neighborhoods and destabilize our institutions. How many times a deal is really an ultimatum requiring submission. These are the tools of fascism. And one of the first things a fascist government does is crack down on the ability of its people to dissent. The administration knows that universities are places of independent thought. They are sanctuaries where young people can learn, express their opinions, and develop a political identity. Here at the University of Pennsylvania, student movements have been a loud and powerful voice for causes local and abroad. When the University City Townhomes, the last affordable housing project left in University City, was being auctioned off, students organized a solidarity campaign that involved rallies, teach-ins, and direct action. While the genocide raged in Gaza, students organized an encampment that modeled radical community while holding the university accountable to complicit investments in the genocide. These actions have left their mark on campus and on our city, and they have inspired me as an elected official. And I say this because these acts of solidarity and resistance in student movements are what has led to this so-called compact. And we know this because one of the architects of this compact is Wharton Board Chair Mark Rowan. Mark Rowan is a billionaire private equity investor who has wielded his position at Penn to wage a war of his own on campus. In 2023, Mark Rowan used his influence to oust President McGill due to what he believed was her insufficient response to anti-Semitism on campus. However, given his involvement in drafting this policy, it's clear that his concern is not about anti-Semitism, it is about control. How else do you explain wanting a vibrant marketplace of ideas, yet call for protections for conservatism, while also saying academic freedom is not absolute? How else can you explain claiming that international students are saturating campus with noxious values such as anti-Semitism and other anti-American values, creating serious national security risks? That is a line word for word from this compact. National security risks? 18-year-olds, really? What are we talking about here? These are not serious statements. These are not intellectual ideas rigorously debated amongst academics. These are the scribbles of a cabal of wealthy white men, oligarchs who want to solidify their hijacking of our democracy. We will not stand for it. It's why Rep. Kenyatta and I are introducing legislation to hold accountable any university that agrees to this compact. And some people have said, thank you Jamie, appreciate it. Some people have said, well, Rep, why would you respond to political interference with more political interference? Shouldn't we allow Penn to independently make its own decision? And to this, I have two answers. First, none of Penn's decisions are made independent of political influence. as I just stated, Mark Rowan utilized his political relationships to oust a university president. Do you really think he's not working as we speak right now to pressure Penn to accept this compact? Point number 2. Penn may be an independent university, but it is also an employer, a property owner, and a cultural institution in our city. What Penn does impacts our neighborhoods and our local economy. To not engage when their actions could mean discrimination against black students, queer and trans students, and workers here in Philadelphia. To not engage will be abdicating my responsibility to the 60,000 neighbors I represent in West and Southwest Philadelphia. So we are all here because we take the responsibility of leadership very seriously. Leaders don't bend under pressure. They don't allow external forces to undermine them, and they don't allow themselves to be extorted by a bully. And I know a bully when I see one. Penn, say no. Thank you. Next, I'm going to bring up Representative Malcolm Kenyatta.
Thank you, Rep, and good morning.
Good morning.
So I want to first thank my colleagues who have been loud and consistent in calling for University of Pennsylvania to do right by its mission as a university, to stand up for their students, to stand up for free and fair debate, to stand up for academic freedom, to stand up for the ability of the staff that works here to pursue scientific and other academic pursuits without this guy in the White House getting to dictate how that gets done. We should be crystal clear. This administration is engaged in an ongoing attack against free speech, an ongoing attack against academic freedom, an ongoing attack against black, brown, trans, and international students at this university and across this country. This compact that we've been talking about this morning, this federal compact, it is nothing more than federally subsidized discrimination. It is federally subsidized attack on the First Amendment. It is federally subsidized attack on our students based on the color of their skin and based on their country of origin. And we as legislators are saying very clearly, we are not going to stand for it. We're not going to stand for it. The University of Pennsylvania over and over and over again has bent a knee to a would-be king. Has over and over and over again not stood up for their values, not stood up for what this university should be about, but has asked, sir, how high do you want me to jump? How low do you want me to bend? The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania cannot, must not, should not also be a party to subsidizing limitations on free speech, to subsidizing attacks on students of all different backgrounds, and to subsidizing in a continued approach to try to divide our neighborhoods up, to try to divide our communities up, to try to pit our Jewish students against our black students, to try to pit our white students against our Hispanic students, to try to put our students who are from Pennsylvania or some other state in the U.S. against our international students. It is wrong. And so today, as Representative Krajewski said, he and I are going to be introducing the Protect Pennsylvania Academic Freedom Act. That legislation says very simply that if the University of Pennsylvania signs the Federal Discrimination Compact, that they will not receive $1 in state funds. If they sign this compact, we will claw back state grants that have been given to this university, as we must. If University of Penn signs the Federal Discrimination Compact, we will not support the millions of dollars that goes to support their veterinary school. We should be crystal clear, even though they are not. America does not bow to a king. We do not have a king. We do not have some guy in the White House that barely made it off of this campus himself to come here and decide who gets admitted, to decide what research can be pursued, to decide what conversations could be had in our classrooms. And it is ridiculous that this even has to be said. Are you kidding me? That is how I feel. It is ridiculous that this has to be said. It is ridiculous that this group of legislators has to come here again and again and again and say to the University of Pennsylvania, stand up for all your students. To say to the University of Pennsylvania, stop marginalizing and treating students that have a variety of different backgrounds differently simply because of who they are, and actually protect a vibrant academic environment. Actually stand up for free speech. Actually stand up for our Constitution. Actually stand up for the rule of law. If an institution as powerful and as well-resourced as the University of Pennsylvania does not stand against fascism and creeping authoritarianism, then who else can? And I will tell you, the people of this country can. The legislators standing here can. I know the students on this campus can and will. And so we want to be very clear for folks who think, oh, well, right now the Senate's controlled by Republicans. So right now we can play both chambers against themselves. I remember when I came to the legislature, House Democrats didn't have the majority of that change.
That's right.
Right now, Senate doesn't have the majority by much, and that may very well change. And so I would encourage folks to have a long view of the decisions that you're making. Have a long view of the decisions that you're making. And know that we have a long memory about the choices that you are making in this moment. Because when this story is over, when we move to the next chapter, there are going to be a lot of folks who act like they don't know what they did. A lot of folks are going to be very confused about where they stood when there was a moment and a need for people to stand up. And the University of Pennsylvania, at this moment, needs to stand up. And if you stand up, we will stand with you. But if you stand against the Constitution, if you stand against academic freedom, if you stand against free speech, then we will stand against you. Thank you.
For the record, a few things I got to do. I apologize. I didn't start with. My name is Anthony Hardy Williams. I represent the 8th Senatorial District. We also want to acknowledge that many staff members who are out here today, we appreciate the work that you all put in to make sure we could be here and sound most effective in terms of what we're going to do. For those who are reporting this, who are here or not here, we want to make it very clear. This is not a threat. This is a commitment. Penn will have to acknowledge they are not going to receive the compact. They will not get away with being silent. They have to say we're not going to accept it. And until such time, this is not a threat. This is a promise, a commitment. The manner in which most of the money that comes to the University of Pennsylvania occurs requires more than a majority vote. They will not get a penny. That is not an idle threat. That is a commitment from those of us who sit in a place that requires to know how to count to 2/3. Whether we're in the minority in the Senate or in the majority in the House, we collectively will say, Penn, you will not receive a penny of state funding. We also want to make sure that our governor is a part of our fight in this process. We want to make sure that people in these positions of authority and responsibility who have these backdoor conversations are clear. We're tired of being polite. I love my friend, the chairman of the Black Caucus, Representative Napoleon Nelson, but he is much more diplomatic than me. This is not going to be a polite conversation. And be very clear, the backbone of this country came after the Civil War and in the 60s. The Constitution was a blueprint, but the truth is we filled it in the 60s when we made all those civil rights bills allowing LGBT, veterans, women, disabled, certainly people of color, not only vote, but do a variety of things in this country. That is what we're talking about eroding today. So we're also making clear that not only we're not committed to Penn declaring their position, but our federal partners in the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives, as they wrestle with their budget issues, We want to make sure that they are clear. They should be telling the folks in those rooms, Penn does not receive a penny until they declare that they are not for quid pro quo. They are not for denying access for people of color. They're not against discriminating you because of your background. And we start with the University of Pennsylvania. And most significantly, I want to thank those who are gathered here today, my colleagues, Senator Art Hayward, Councilwoman Jamie Gaudier. Oh, one other thing, from local government. You know, billionaires think they can manipulate and game this system. Penn is a uniquely positioned university that is landlocked. It should not be able to build one more thing without the permit of council or the mayor. We're asking our esteemed councilwoman, Jamie Gaudier, to make sure her council members know clearly there's not one nail, not one piece of lumber that will be advanced in the form of a permit for expansion of this university as long as it continues to kowtow to the Donald Trump administration. I want to thank Senator Art Hayward, Councilman Jamie Gaudier, Representative Malk Kenyatta, Representative Rick Krajewski, Representative Napoleon Nelson, and absent Representative Andre Carroll for their continued work in this space. For those who are on this campus, particularly those who are part of the Black Caucus who are here, and other caucuses, we will be reaching out to you because we do not want you to feel like you are by yourself or isolated. We want you to be in direct conversation with us as we move forward. And most disappointing, we will not be able to do it through the administration. You know, when we organized this press event today, was it 3 days ago, we reached out to the University of Pennsylvania to say we wanted to be here, and we wanted to make sure they knew it, and we were doing it in a respectful way, and asked for a permit. We have not yet heard back from the University of Pennsylvania. I think that's a statement in and of itself about what they think about the elected representation of this community and beyond. And so, while we like it to be, as my friend, the chairman said, polite and thoughtful and considerate, but be very clear, we come from a survival background. And those of us know how to survive, know how to fight. And so if they want to fight, we're here to start one. With that, I'll close. And any questions that you might have, I see Channel 6 just got here in the nick of time for us to close. We will make sure that you get all that you may need. Questions? If no questions.
Alex Stout, Daily Pennsylvania. Have you been in touch with Jameson at all about
Compact?
itself rather than just the meeting here?
So, and by the way, I want to make sure we're clear. It's the compact plus those videos. We have students on this campus who received racist, vile videos, and University of Penn's response has been, we're investigating it. We don't know what that means. We don't know what type of an investigation, what the consequence of that investigation will be, who is, the target of that investigation. What we received is, privacy issues. And what I've never experienced is, if those things are true, those students should be charged.
That's right.
And when those students are charged, it should be public.
That's right.
And the least that University of Pennsylvania could say is that we will find out, we will ferret out, we will not sleep until we find out who did it, and make sure that they are held to the highest standard as it relates to prosecution by the law. We have reached out. We've sent a letter to our federal representation about our position on the budget. We've also, again, reached out to the administration to let them know we're going to be here. We've not heard anything back as a result of that. And I would expect the format that they've decided to approach. That means, by the way, not just the president, but the board, which is sanctioning this kind of activity, we have not heard from in a long time. Did you want to say something? We also have John Christmas, who is the chief lawyer, chief counsel for Council President Kenyatta Johnson. Any other questions? I want to make sure for Channel 6 we summarize. The collection of us who are here today that I mentioned are here specifically because of those videos that we now acknowledge are connected with the inaction when University of Pennsylvania decided not to act upon and protect those students after wiping out DEI. We told them then the potential consequence of that would be more harsh, outrageous actions towards that population of student and faculty. And in fact, here we are today. We acknowledge and we thank the University of Penn Law School, CHOP, the health system for all acknowledging that while the administration stands pressuring them, they will not bend or yield to intimidation and have taken actions to affirm their commitment for their children, their students of color and their faculty of color as well. We also are saying to this administration that we are not going to allow for any state dollars to come to the University of Pennsylvania until Penn says we will not participate in this compact. And we're asking for our federal representation to do the same as well. I want to make sure, did I miss anything? That's it. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.